stand up. Okay.
All right. So, censorship. Obviously, in the internet and throughout history has been brought up in debate. From the dawn of time, especially with Michelangelo's art and depiction of it, things have been censored. When it comes to art and media and even video games are being censored for so many different reasons, and no matter what happens, somebody gets upset about it. If it is not censored, then somebody's upset. But if it is, somebody feels like the content is being taken away, that something that is meant to be there is gone, and they cannot fully experience exactly what they're searching for. They cannot fully experience the full art or the full imagery of what the artist is trying to depict. No matter what the situation, if the artist wants to depict something beautiful and something full and rich, it can be taken away from them. It can be completely stripping from their original image.
Okay. Just quickly, we're doing
these are opening statements.
Well, we kind of focused on video game censorship, but we can broaden it.
You want to broaden it?
If you want.
Okay. Well, okay. So for our opening statement, I'd just like to say that the censorship of the internet and stuff like that, I am totally for it because it actually does help out a lot of things. In today's world, we have access to a lot of stuff like pornography, gun violence, even the media of how the world changes and stuff like that. If we censor that kind of stuff, it would stop gun violence, it would stop sexuality, not sexuality how to discover your sexuality, but more sexual assault, stuff like that. In today's world, you can search up how to make a bomb, how to blow up a school, how to shoot up a school, how to rape a girl, stuff like that. All these stuff of how to do stuff. And we have no way to stop it, and anywhere in the world you can search up how to do it. This also gives people the courage to go out there and do this kind of stuff, whereas if you don't have that, if you have the censorship, you can't really have that courage. You can't create a plan in your mind of how to go and blow up a school. So.
Okay, so censorship is. I'm against censorship because it can prevent the artistic freedom, respecting art forms like film, television, video games as what they are, art. Art should be appreciated. It should be not censored. We should appreciate it in its full entirety, not have parts blocked out or taken out of it because of what the public may assume to be harmful to other people, something that people would look on it with, oh, this is, I don't know what I feel about this. We should have art should be something that we shouldn't be having debate about, not having it blocked out so we can't have those debates and being all G-rated for everyone, but we should have the art that many people can discuss in different age groups and all of that.
Awesome. And a major part in censorship, it also depends on different kinds of cultures. The cultural views in Japan is widely different from cultural views in America. And when things try to transition, or stories or video games, all these different things try to transition into different cultures, and there's people who want these things, but they have to go through different scenarios and different processes to be translated. And when they go through the translation process, things are taken out completely distorting the story or distorting the main purpose of the film or the video game. Such as examples, just there are many things as an example, the video game Earthbound, it's barely made it into America just because of its use of tobacco, alcohol, uses of sometimes language, and also there is religious topics brought up within the game, but we already have so much diversity here in America, such as people who we have bars everywhere. We have smoke, people smoke up the wazoo. It's not something that's hidden. Children see it all the time. It is a known thing. But censoring these kind of things is kind of like a little bit meaningless and takes away from the story. It makes it a little strange. There's a quote that I want to like depict here from a man named Tom Lipschultz, who is a localization like director for video games, and he says along the lines of saying that like all these things can be like distorted, and the true nature of the thing can be diverted from its original path just because somebody feels a little uncomfortable with the other person's culture. We're just ignoring that, the Japanese culture. We're not like trying to learn about them or understand them. We're just trying to completely block them out and then keep our culture within their content.
Okay.
So in regards to, mine's mostly focused on gaming, but for examples, like children have access to getting into these rated M games. It only takes someone who's over the age of 18 to give them money, get them the game, and then they can play it. These games are usually very violent and very graphic, and for a small child to kind of take that in, it can affect them in different ways. There's actually a case where I looked up that a kid stabbed his friend right in the heart after playing Mortal Kombat 3 because he thought he was one of the characters. He thought he was committing a fatality, and his friend's dead. Another case was another child shot up a school because he was depicting a real life or a situation he experienced on GTA. And these games often can affect these children's minds in negative ways. There's been studies also that children who are exposed to these kind of games tend to be more violent towards anyone else. There's been sessions where kids have been playing a certain game, say Call of Duty, for 3 hours, and they put them in a scenario, just in a public scenario, where the kids were actually more violent to their peers. And there's some games out there that are rated M that they can be regulated with the graphic and gore. Not many games, though, can regulate that. So when a kid walks in on their parent playing a violent video game, some guy just being decapitated. Yeah, decapitated.
You're close.
Still can't see it. They still take that in, and they still, they can be heavily influenced.
Another thing on the violence in the video games and stuff like that. Yeah, they are rated M, and if a kid can get a game that's rated M, is also going to see stuff that he shouldn't see, like sexuality, sex scenes, and stuff like that. Kids should not be exploring this kind of stuff until they're in grade 6, grade 5, and now they're exploring it at the age of 3 and asking their parents about this. Kind of really odd conversation to have with your kids about how they were made, or especially just the fact of like saying these gross sexual words and swear words in front of their parents. They're more prone to actually saying the F-bomb to their mom and telling them to F off. There's a lot of violence in these kids, and if kids are not psychologically, physically capable to handle the video game, they can go mentally ill and probably shoot up a school or something like that.
To go along with that, too, is that if anyone can have access to that, then we should have it more restricted. Like the censorship should be there more than ever.
All right, open debate time.
Okay, I'm totally gonna hit up first. So in South Korea, there's a man called that runs a country, or no, I think it's North Korea. It's North Korea. A guy named Kim Jong-un runs the country. Now, what he has done in South Korea is actually censorship most of the internet. Now, what this has done is censorship, the propaganda against Kim Jong-un, has also prevented any sort of assassination of him or any kind of rebellion. Nobody can rebel against him because they don't have the courage to, they don't have the access to go out there and create a group to rebel against him. Kim Jong-un has actually censorship the entire country, and they are running fine, besides the fact that they're run by a dictator. It's Kim Jong-un. But, they're still in great hands, the fact that they're censorship, because they haven't had a shooting lately. They're starving, but that's just because they're run by a dictator. So, in sense, they have censorship, the bad stuff about the world, and especially in like third world countries, they don't have those access to like the news and stuff like that to see where how the world runs. I know I'm saying random stuff right now, so just go along with it. Yeah, I'm just gonna end it off right there before I say something stupid.
Well, I just want to say that, are we really willing to sacrifice personal and cultural freedom? Are we willing to sacrifice our creativity just to be oppressed, just to have some perfect utopian world? Is there really such thing as a utopian world? Sure, South Korea has very less violence, very less assassinations, but as you have said, there's people starving. There's people who are contained in a cage. They are trapped. They cannot leave. They cannot expound on their own creativity. They cannot grow and become better. They are set in these certain rules and certain guidelines. And in these censorships, they cannot become more than they can be. They are only set onto what they are told to be set in. Like, their leaders are saying, you are this, and you can only be this. That is what a lot of censorship is telling us, that you are this, and you can only be this. This is the permanent sand in the line. You cannot have creative freedom. You cannot be able to grow. You cannot interact in ways to be creative, to find, to explore like what it means to be human. You can only react and be in these kind of guidelines.
I'm just gonna yeah, you go first.
So you're saying is that without censorship, you're saying you can be anything. So going up to someone saying, yes, you can be a school shooter, or you can plant a bomb in some place. Are you saying that without censorship, people are able to be these kind of people?
And just to hit off before you say something, you said earlier in your open statements or your core statements that it is art. Now, what is your definition of art? Because the fact that people are drawing male genitalia and female genitalia on walls, putting provocative words on walls, do you call that art on walls? Like, I think that's a good censorship of preventing that. Whereas if you're putting a male genitalia on a male sculpture from Michelangelo, that's okay because that is expressing the male body in an art form. Now, but if you're putting it on walls as a sexual way to express some sexual violence or something like that, then that is a way to kind of not say it's art, and that should be censored.
The line gets kind of blurred after you say art and then, just other people drawing this. It's kind of a
Like
blurred
graffiti
line
is
after
like
a while.
a great form of art, and that's not censored, but people don't call that art because it's just like scribbles on walls. But I find it nice. It's better than some guy that's drawing dicks on the walls.
Well, it is still art. Like, it might not necessarily be good art. But it's still art in either case. Like, every way you look at it, it can still be considered like this is somebody who made this. That, despite your views on it, it's still like a creation that somebody put time and effort in, despite how crude and how you might think inappropriate it might be.
Just before we hit up for closing statements, just like to say, if someone put F your mom on the wall, would you call that art?
That's a message. Like that's not.
But like if it was a graffiti form, let's say, would you still
That's still using.
Okay, let's just end it. Okay, go back to concluding points
You want to hit up with the
before
closing?
this gets out of control.
So in conclusion, we think that censorship should be heavily more law in a way, because it's so easier for kids to, especially it's just for the kids most for their sake, because it's so easy to change the mind of a young developing mind. Like because there's so much exposure you can see to these nudity content, and it's not always the kid stumbles upon a piece of art and thinks, oh yeah, that's artful. There's like a highly chance that the kid will stumble upon very dirty graphic scenes or messed up content. They won't 100% stumble upon, pieces of art, as you would say.
All right. But I think we should not have censorship because it can limit the art forms that mankind has created over the years. And if people and kids are like exposed to that, it is now the responsibility of the parents to explain that in a way that they can understand, that the children can understand. Not like if parents do not do that, then it's not the creator's fault who have done it. It's the parents' fault for not explaining what this thing the children have seen.
Oh, that was a fast closing
Okay, great debate, you guys.
statement. Cool.